What is up, everyone? I'm here to bring you a very important video update on VeChain, folks. This has been an absolute monster that's been killing it in the space, and I think over the long term we haven't seen anything yet. So if you hadn't gotten into VeChain, or you're looking to accumulate some more VeChain, I want to run through some technical analysis and look at where VeChain could pull back to if we did have a pullback, and where I would begin to dollar cost average my way into VeChain, and also just kind of how I break down some technical analysis. So if you like the sound of that, folks, do me a favor, like, subscribe, comment, and share, and hit that bell icon to be notified of new uploads, because we're going to be bringing you the latest and greatest in cryptocurrency news and technical analysis. So folks, there's a lot to talk about right now. Let's just begin by describing the price structure of what's going on with VeChain here. So we've been exploding parabolically here. I drew this pitchfork from the bottom of this impulse to the top, and then the retracement that gives us some support and resistance lines that are likely to be relevant. So we broke out bullishly, we fell back with it, and now we're kind of riding this pitchfork line here. We're also right up against significant resistance from the 9.3 region to about the 9.9, just under 10 cents. So folks, we may have a pullback. If VeChain cannot get above these levels and start making higher highs soon, a pullback is perhaps warranted, especially since we've had a massive run up. And folks, if VeChain corrects, if it does, it should be to be expected. Do not let a pullback surprise you. We have pullbacks all the time after run up. See, run up, pullback, run up, pullback, run up, pullback. Do not be surprised if VeChain has a pullback. So let's say we did pull back. Let's say we continue to find rejection off these levels, the high 9 cent, 10 cent range. And let's say we start to break down within this pitchfork here. Well, I think our first short-term target probably be around 8.3, 8.4 cents to about 8 cents here. Nice price reactive zone. We can see this wick kind of reacted well off this area here. So if we zoom in a bit better, we might be able to see this a bit better. It's a pretty price reactive zone here. We also have the 786 right at this region. So I think this is our first pullback region. If we continue to find rejection, and specifically if we start to break within this blue line here, if this blue line doesn't hold as support, I think retesting these regions makes a lot of sense. Now, what I think might be more likely, because when we've exploded so parabolically, a substantial pullback is perhaps warranted. I think if we do continue to find rejection, if we break down from that blue line, retesting the 236 Fibonacci retracement from the macro bottom to the macro top, the 236 being just about 7.6 cents right now, I think that's probably where we could fall back down to, especially if this area of support does not hold. So these green boxes is where I would personally look to dollar cost average my way into Ethereum if I was so inclined. Let's say this doesn't hold. Where do I think VeChain could fall to next? Well, then I would say, based off our Fibonacci extension here, based off the macro bottom of price action. Oh, I just moved our retracement. That's okay. So based off our macro bottom to this top and then the retracement, we get some fib levels that are likely to be relevant, and in my opinion have been pretty price reactive. Well, I think the 618, if the 236 here doesn't hold at 75, 76, the 618, the golden pocket on our Fibonacci extension, is probably where we fall to next. So anywhere from 64 to about 7 cents is a buy for myself. I don't like making these crazy wide ranges, but that is where I would begin to dollar cost average my way into VeChain. Now, folks, where is the best #1 place to buy into VeChain? I'm going to tell you exactly where that is, and I think it's the 200 EMA on the 6 hour. Folks, let's look at the previous action. Let's see, where did VeChain find support every time it dumped? Pump, dump, we found support on the 200 EMA on the 6 hour. Pump, dump, 200 EMA on the 6 hour. Pump, dump, 200 EMA on the 6 hour. The 200 EMA on the 6 hour is continually acted as a bedrock, the floor of support for VeChain, which, guess what, just so happens to line up within the 618, within the golden pocket. So VeChain, wherever the 200 EMA on the 6 hours, that is where I'm looking to buy into VeChain, and I would consider myself extremely lucky if you got the chance to buy into more VeChain near this thing, because I think VeChain is an absolute monster. I don't think we've seen anything yet. I don't know this for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see 50 cents to $1 by the end of this bull run. Now, this is a long-term hold for me. For those who don't know, VeChain aims to improve supply chains and logistics through tracking on the blockchain. It's by far the leader in its niche. So this is definitely a long-term hold for me. I'm looking to scale out on my long-term positions based off price time frames and not so much price targets. Come late September, early October is when I'm scaling out on my long-term positions, regardless of price action, whether VeChain's at 20 cents, 50 cents, a dollar, $2. Come September, come October, come November, late third quarter, early fourth quarter, that's when I'll start to dollar cost average my way out of my long-term positions. If you want to know why I think the time frame specifically, join our Discord, link for that down in the description below in our resources section. I posted a chart by Trading Shot. Trading Shot broke down the Bitcoin cycles. Bitcoin moves in these 4-year cycles, at least historically, all based off the halvings. So based off the last halving that we've had, I think we're likely to reach some kind of cycle top September, October. So until then, I ain't selling shit. But when we reach that time, I'm definitely selling. So my plan is to move into stable coins, stake them, and then buy back into the market a year after this September, October. Now, let's take a look at our indicators here, because I'm starting to note some bearishness, folks. So we see here on the daily MACD, we had a bearish crossover. We're quite overextended. We're quite overbought. That's not good to see, folks. If we see that that bearish crossover continue, we could see a substantial correction down, and again, perhaps retest the 200 EMA on the 6-hour. Although the weighted MACD doesn't seem to want to capitulate just quite yet because we're curving upwards, might have a bullish crossover. The weighted MACD acts as a leading indicator on the regular MACD. Stochastic RSI, great for understanding shifts in trend, had a bullish crossover, but now it's curving down, might have a bearish one. The RSI overbought, making, is this a lower high? Somewhat. Regardless of whether this is a lower high to this or not, we're making lower highs currently in the RSI. So not good to see. It's kind of bearish, folks. We're quite overextended. Let's take a look at the 12. Yeah, same lower highs. Stochastic weighted on the way up. Histogram sticking up. So we don't want to capitulate quite just yet. Let's take a look at the 6 here. 6-hour looking not that strong. Yeah. Yeah, we're still making lower highs on the RSI. Let's keep looking here. See if anything, any confidence strength is building up in the short term. I mean, we're not getting a strong confidence on our indicators. Weighted MACD is going up, stochastic's going down, RSI is going down, histogram was ticking up, but we do not want to have that bullish crossover. So, folks, I'm not seeing that strength start to build up, and we're quite overextended on the larger time frames. So ultimately, VeChain could have a pullback here in the short term. To understand whether we're going to have that pullback or not, we need to understand how VeChain reacts off this pocket here. So I think we can actually draw, I mean, you could draw this, I suppose you could draw this a few different ways, but I would say this is a bit of an ascending triangle based off this pitchfork. You know, I'm going to go with our pitchfork because our pitchfork has been extremely price reactive. Everywhere you look, this pitchfork has been valid and has been price reactive. So I think this pitchfork is our support line. This zone here from 9.3 to just under 10 cents is our resistance level. So whatever way we break out of this pocket, break out of this ascending triangle, I think we're like to trend in that direction. And since we're quite overextended and making a lower high and we're quite overbought, perhaps a pullback is warranted, folks. So these are the levels I'm looking out for. Ultimately, I think the floor support is this thing, the 200 EMA on the 6-hour. If you can get in there, if VeChain ever retests it, oof, I'd certainly long the shit out of VeChain right there. So now something else I'm noting of concern with VeChain is the VeChain Bitcoin pairing. Folks, you always want to look at the pairings with Bitcoin because you can often find hidden bullish and bearish divergence that you wouldn't anticipate if you were just looking at the US dollar value. So with VeChain, we broke out bullishly out of this ascending triangle. Now we're finding rejection exactly where anticipated. If we cannot make a higher high above the 1.7 region here, I'm not counting all those decimals. If we cannot make a higher high and continue to find rejection and go for a bit of a leg down, that is very likely to translate for the US dollar value of VeChain. And sometimes the Bitcoin pairing moves first and then the US dollar value follows afterwards. So very important to try to understand how we react. If we start to break out bullishly, that could result in VeChain making a higher high. Let's say we do break out bullishly. Let's say we can get above and hold above 10 cents here, make a higher high, get above that, hold that. I think our next price target is 13 cents for VeChain. So VeChain above and holding, because we could just wick above and then fall back down. VeChain holding 10 cents tells me we can see 13 cents easily, a 30% move to the upside. So as well, the Ethereum pairing, pretty much telling a similar story to the Bitcoin pairing. We're right up against historical resistance from about the 5.8 to the 5.5. If and when we can get above and hold above these regions, I think we can see bullish continuation. Until then, we might be in store for a bit of a leg down here, folks. Now, another thing important to look at to try and gauge the state of the altcoin market is the Bitcoin dominance chart. It's essentially a temperature check of the altcoin market. If you ever want to know if the altcoin market is super bullish or super bearish, take a look at Bitcoin dominance. For those who don't know, Bitcoin dominance is the total value of Bitcoin in comparison to total value of all cryptocurrency. Whenever it rises, altcoins typically suffer. Whenever it falls, altcoins typically benefit. So the day we see a daily candle close below 60% in terms of Bitcoin dominance, I think that is when we see altcoins truly start to fly. And if we start to rally, that is going to place the dampers on the altcoins and could cause a correction with the altcoins. Whenever Bitcoin moves quickly, you get up or down, that's typically not good for altcoins. Although at the end of the day, Bitcoin moving up is a good thing. It's just altcoins lag behind in for quite some time. That's why I see, because a lot of people are disappointed with Ethereum. But folks, who cares about the short term? The Ethereum has never looked more bullish long term. The long term is where the most return on potential lies, and the short term is where the most risk lies. So I don't know why anyone would take a short term approach when investing in crypto. It's literally the worst way to invest in cryptocurrencies, having a short term approach. The winners and the people who make the most amount of money in crypto are going to be the people who hold solid projects, and I emphasize solid projects for the long term. But again, not financial advisor. You do you, boo. You know what's best for yourself. Because, there could be a lot of volatility in the short term, and a lot of people may not want to stomach 10, 5, 15, 30% pullbacks, although expect that to happen. 30% pullbacks with the crypto market is to be expected. It's commonplace. It's an inevitability. Understand that we're very likely to see about half a dozen 30% pullbacks. I wouldn't be surprised if we see another half a dozen 30% pullbacks before the end of this market. Expected. Don't let yourself get surprised. Now, folks, I want to take the opportunity to shill token metrics for a second, because we've been using this to help inform some of our thought process and some of our research, and it's a very helpful tool in our tool bag that we highly recommend if you can spare it. If I didn't already say it, they do AI fueled price predictions and portfolio suggestions. So they also do they have this indice where they take a look at what their AI thinks will be the top performing low caps under 30 million based off a monthly, weekly, and daily basis. So we use this oftentimes to inform some of our research, some of our thought process. They also send you helpful code reviews. So folks, I bring this up now because they're actually going to be upgrading and improving their platform within April, I believe, and they're actually going to be raising their prices, because right now, currently, depending on what tier you can get in, you could only see between 100 and 200 coins. If you sign up to the with the middle tier, the investor class, I think it's like 100. You see the top 100 coins, but with this upgrade that's coming in April, you'll be able to see the top 500 coins, I believe, and see price predictions on them. And they're doing a lot of improvements to their platform, bringing in some new modeling stuff for different cryptos, and so they're going to be increasing their prices soon. But if you get in before the upgrade, you'll get grandfathered in at the cheaper prices. So if you get in before the end of April, you'll be able to get in before Tokenmetrics raises their prices. So if you can spare it, we highly recommend Tokenmetrics. I aped into Nord Finance. I aped into Coco's BCX. I take this. I do my own research. If I like it, I get into it, right? So I took a look at the charts, and both of these look extremely interesting, and I'd definitely be willing to hold these for quite a while. So folks, if you want access to stuff like this, join Tokenmetrics. Link for that down in the description below. You get 10% off if you use our code as well, folks. If you like what we do and you want to support us, join our Patreon. Link for that down in the description below. You'll get access to the low cap gems, interesting setups, and very helpful resources that we're looking at before anyone else gets to see them. Interesting low caps such as Unmarshal. Folks, I was telling our people, apply to Unmarshal. Try and get in the IDO. Try to whitelist, because I think Unmarshal is probably going to do 100x from the Polkastar IDO. It goes live, I believe, tomorrow on Uniswap, and we're definitely going to be buying the dip on Unmarshal. It's essentially a competitor to the Graph. Well, not a competitor. It's doing different stuff. It's kind of filling the holes that the Graph doesn't have. It's essentially like an indexing tool for DeFi developers. I'm very bullish on that project long term. So come tomorrow when Unmarshal goes live on Uniswap, we're gonna wait out and see if it pumps and see if it dumps, and we're gonna be buying the dip on Unmarshal tomorrow. So stay tuned to this channel. We're definitely gonna be talking about that in the price action. In fact, we're actually working on getting a live stream sorted out. We'll see if we can get that ready in time. No promises, but we're gonna be definitely talking about Unmarshal. So if you want access to more low cap gems such as Unmarshal, join our VIP Discord, join our Patreon. Link for that down in the description below. All right, folks, I've been rambling for quite long enough now. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for everyone's support. That's it for me, folks. Take care.